Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, oh my God, Doug and I teased it last week. Oh. General Conference happened.
The Mormons, some shit went down.
Actually went down.
Normal Mormon General Conference, we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of white old men blathering.
Right.
And it's boring.
Right.
And this time it was boring, but we'll tease out some things that were actually maybe interesting.
Kind of interesting developments.
Yeah.
Or at least interesting implications.
Yeah.
If nothing else. And so that'll be coming up a little bit before the second half of the show, but also definitely heavy in the second half of the show.
Mormons, baby.
It's some stuff
happening.
That couldn't be ignored.
Yeah, no.
Mormons.
And why would you?
Mormons, it's happening.
That's their new motto.
Yeah.
Mormons, baby. It's happening.
Just like you. Mormons. We're just like you.
We're just like you.
Not really though.
Please. Oh,
Please like us.
But we're weird. But we are
We're peculiar.
Peculiar people. But we're just like you, except us. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, Dan.
Yeah, what?
You were saying earlier that you're leading a harried existence.
Oh,
at the moment.
I am. I have less hair than I normally do.
Yeah.
And yet I'm harried. But you know it's not harried.
What?
Harry's.
Oh my God. That should be their new slogan.
We're not harried. We're Harry's. That's a terrible slogan, Frank. I think we've gone off the track a little bit.
Well, nonetheless, we do like their product.
Yes, indeed. Let's talk a little bit about it. It's a shaving club.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Why don't you talk a little bit about your experience with Harry's? Will you testify, Brother Frank?
I hereby bear my testimony.
Yeah.
That the Harry's razor is true, and it is a comfortable shave.
Yeah.
And their shave gel not only smells wonderful, but makes it all the more comfortable. And I use it to clean up my cheeks and my neck. You know, anybody watching the video will definitely see that. You know, I've got a beard just like you do.
Yes.
And so, but this is about the cleanup. This is about looking good, looking sharp. And
there's a guy in the cast of my play right now.
Oh,
young kid, doesn't have much of a beard, but he's required to grow it out for the show.
Okay, yeah.
Will not. I keep telling, clean up your neck. You look like a slob.
Yeah.
Clean up your neck.
Yeah. There's nothing worse, Dan. You gotta keep the neck clean.
The beard stops.
Yes, indeed.
On a nice sharp line.
Indeed. And so there's, if you take advantage of their offer, which Dan, you'll fill them in on.
Yes.
You're going to get that nice 5-blade razor, a travel protector kit thing.
Yeah.
You're going to get the shave cream,
a weighted ergonomic handle.
A weighted ergonomic. Is it the weighted? Is that what makes it so
the
nice
weight,
to hold on to?
The weight actually gives it a nice balance. Oh. Yeah. And then the shape of it is also
because it feels like quality.
It's just great to grip.
Right. Yeah,
it's just a great way to shave. Now look, you do it over the internet.
Yeah,
and that way you're not, because when you buy at the store at the grocery store, it just costs too much. It's just ridiculous. Try it for free. Mm-hmm. See how you like it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Stop it.
Right.
You don't have to do anything.
Right.
You just pay for shipping. Mm-hmm. And then you get the whole trial set for free. So make sure you go to harrys.com/TGIA to redeem your offer and let them know I sent you to help support the show.
Awesome. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Thank all of you. Several of you have done this, and it helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
And you get a better shave. So.
Yeah.
Win. Yes.
All right, Dan.
Tell me a story.
A lot of people take church on Easter very seriously.
Indeed.
Because it's the one of 2 times of the year that they're actually going to go to church.
Yeah.
Right?
Many people. These people are called Catholics.
There are others who do this, though,
Yeah.
as well. Well, this is a story of a woman down in Phoenix, 40-year-old woman
Okay.
by the name of Sharon Dobbins.
Remember when 40-year-old sounded old?
Yeah.
Suddenly that's just our age.
So young.
So young.
So young indeed.
And vibrant.
So
Anyway, sorry. A young and vibrant woman
at
in Phoenix.
the ripe old age of 40. She is being held, she was at least arrested on charges of child abuse after she woke her son up for Easter Sunday services with a stun gun. He was refusing to get out of bed.
I mean, I remember being a teenager, and there were times when I was hard to wake up. Woo! But that'll get you.
Stun gun.
That'll put some pep in your step.
I have to tell you, if my mom had a stun gun available to her, she probably would have used it on us. At some point, it would have happened.
Oh my gosh!
So I actually, I sympathize.
Jesus needs you at church, kiddo.
She said Dobbins, of course, is saying that she did not shock her son. She only used the noise from the gun to wake her two sons up who were refusing to go to church. So the
they make a pretty loud crack.
the cracky sound. Yeah,
It's a scary sound.
yeah.
But wait. So how did the police get the idea that she actually shocked them?
Because there were bumps and whatnot on the kid's skin where he was actually burned
definitely did it.
by the stun gun. And the kid saying that she did stun him.
Oh, the kid's ratting her out.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
The 17-year-old is ratting her out.
Fuck you, Mom.
But Dobbins, she says, I don't think I did anything wrong because you're supposed to put God first. And that's all I was trying to do is tell my kids to put God first. She continues, nobody writes a book on the correct way of parenting.
Oh, yeah.
No, there's not a single book about parenting.
Nobody. Wow, somebody who should really get on that. Writing a book on parenting. It's not like there's a whole section of it at every bookstore.
I think the correct line is, these things don't come with user manuals. I tell my sons to honor thy mother and thy father, or their days will be shortened. And that's my favorite.
Or their days will be shortened. I think that she's adding something
them.
because those 10 Commandments don't say that part.
No, but she's, so that thy days may be long on the earth. I believe it does say, right?
Oh.
So she's twisted it to.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, this is what happens when you think that your spiritual mandate supersedes all else on this earth.
Yeah.
You go to jail.
Yeah, for child abuse.
Yeah.
Good.
You get charged with child
You can't
abuse.
stun gun your kids
You are an abuser, madam.
to wake them up in the morning.
Wow. Well,
You lure them out of bed with Easter treats.
doesn't work for a 17-year-old.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Yeah, you take away their screens. You take away their phone or something.
Yeah.
That's how you get them out of bed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna one up you.
Oh,
Is what I'm gonna do.
okay. Go
You
for
wanna
it.
you child abuse in the name of Jesus?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I got it. Gwinnett County, Georgia. A woman named Bakari Warren, 25-year-old.
Good name. Solid name.
This time in the name of proving Jesus is real to her children. Driving along, she has a 5 and a 7-year-old in the back, tells them to buckle up. We're going to prove Jesus.
No.
And then swerves and hits a pole.
Wait, she intentionally hits a pole?
Yeah.
How does this prove Jesus?
God's going to keep you safe is the thing. One of the children, a police officer asked the kid, do you think she did it on purpose? To which the child responded, yeah, because she turned Her eyes were closed and she was saying, blah, 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 I love God.
What?
She didn't want us to just have a car accident. She wanted us to know that God is real.
What? How? What?
Yeah.
What a lunatic. These people.
Yeah. She was crazy. Now, no one was hurt in the accident.
They are revoking her driver's license, though.
They should be revoking her humanity. They should be revoking her high school graduation.
Parent card.
Her definitely revoking her right to parent. She's currently in jail on a $22,000 bond.
Nice.
Charged with 2 counts of child cruelty, which she should be charged that just for trying to convince them that God is real. But no.
Well, good. At least the method of her trying to prove was drawn into question.
Crazy. That one was sent in to us by a listener.
That's marvelous.
Thanks, listener.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right.
What else you got?
I've got the story, Dan. An update. The continuing saga of the Missionary Training Center rapist.
Okay, so this is... shall I just throw in some background just for those who
if you'd like to do background
following?
Yeah.
This is a man who was in charge of the Missionary Training Center of the Mormon Church in Provo, Utah.
Yes.
Who admitted on audio,
yes, and to the police,
that he had molested and raped female missionary trainees. He had abused his position of authority.
Yes,
to touch some boobies.
Right, and through all of this, the article that I just read, I think yesterday in the Tribune, the Tribune was still not identifying this woman who has come forward. Right. But now she has filed a lawsuit, so her name now is public record.
Okay.
And
so what's the lawsuit?
So McKenna Denson is her name. She is suing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and what's his bucket? Bishop.
Yeah.
Joseph Bishop, who was this president of the MTC in question. And she is suing them for the fact that they knew about it. They protected him.
Yeah.
So there were already allegations on the record.
Oh, wow.
Not like with the police or anything, but like there were earlier allegations.
The church knew.
Made to the church about this man.
Yeah.
Apparently when he was on a mission, he was involved in inappropriate treatment of women. He was a missionary in Argentina. And then also there apparently... it was improprieties with a young woman while as a missionary, and then inappropriate treatment of women when he was president of Weber State University, which is here in Utah.
Holy shit.
So this was already known.
How did this man rise to these positions of authority when these institutions knew for a fact that he had this problem?
Well, he probably had right family, right friends, and was effective in leadership roles.
Yeah.
From the church's perspective.
Sure.
And, they liked him.
Yeah.
Enough said. Right?
I guess so, boy.
So they protected him and put
Once
him
you're in that boys club, man, that's a good club to be a member of, apparently.
They allowed him they put him into the position where he would be surrounded by young men and women and be in a position of authority over them. And this is the context in which this woman found herself. And so the allegations have been clarified a bit in my mind. It's definitely, the story is more solidified now. Anyway, Denson seeks justice for this horrific sexual assault, as well as the ongoing emotional distress she suffered by repeatedly being ignored, disbelieved, shamed, and blamed by the church she loves so dearly. This is from a statement from her attorney.
And did we talk about the dossier that the church compiled on this woman?
So this came out also, I believe, this week, or at least the specifics of this dossier. That the church had done serious background research on this woman. They collected up basically anything that she'd ever done that could make her look bad or that could discredit her claim in any way, shape, or form. And I mean, it included details about a child that she'd given up for adoption, right?
Yeah.
Mentioned this child by name and like details about where she lives now and everything.
It was
all of this,
a spooky amount of research.
Yeah.
Done on this woman,
and it was all designed. It's well, yeah. I mean, essentially, you use this kind of dossier. One of the uses that you can have for a dossier like this is to run a smear campaign.
Yeah.
Now, the church couldn't do that, but the son of Joseph Bishop, who's been outspoken in the media defending his father,
right? Who's a lawyer,
who is a lawyer, apparently was given a copy of this dossier by the church.
It's so funny. Like, how bass-ackwards do you have to be when someone accuses one of your higher-ups of this kind of horrific behavior?
Yeah.
Your impulse is, what do we know about this woman?
Yeah. They pull the dossier. They send it to the person who could. Who else? You can't blame a son for defending his father.
No.
Right?
I mean, I can.
You can.
Because frankly, yeah, you can.
But
I mean, I understand the impulse. I mean, it's family.
Right, exactly. You're correct. You can blame them, but no, it's if all of a sudden this guy has like bad things to say about the woman, it's coming from a much more
it's a personal
defendable place than if it's coming from the church itself. The church cannot say these things, so they gave it to the one person they felt could.
Yeah.
And so the Tribune, in their article talking about that, they mentioned that he had a slew of allegations against this woman, only a couple of which they were able to run because they were only able to substantiate those, right?
Yeah.
Like there were all these other details that it was kind of like the members of the press were like, where is he getting this information?
Well, and also this dossier included the elements of her church record, which is entirely confidential.
Right.
So like any disciplinary action that was taken against her, so that, you know, and the fact that she served a partial mission and all of these things, like it was like, how does he know all of this stuff?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
The church just gave it to him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think
really
she's got some solid. What will happen is she will make a lot of money in a settlement out of court.
Yeah. But in the meantime, what I think is amazing is so she was in settlement talks already with the church,
right?
Prior to the story getting leaked out. She did not leak the story. Supposedly.
Do we know that?
Supposedly. Okay. She gave the tapes to a couple different people. One of those people is who gave it to Mormon Leaks.
Right.
And then, so she was saying initially, I did not leak this. This is jeopardizing a settlement that I have with the LDS Church. Yeah. And the church did pull out of those talks. And so her lawyer was like, well, guess what, sweetheart? We're going to sue them and you're going to get even more money.
Yeah.
Because
I hope it goes to trial, and I hope that
they're going to settle fast.
Yeah, they will.
They're going to settle fast. There's going to be non-disclosures. Yeah. There's going to be blah, blah, blah.
Not that a non-disclosure is worth anything at this point.
At this point. No, that's true. No further talking to the press, though.
Right.
There'll be all sorts of agreements. There'll probably be a non-disclosure about the amount of money.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to make it go away. I hope they don't. I hope that, what is her name again? McKenna. Where did I put the article? Oh, it's on my phone. What was her name?
Those of you watching,
the first day.
Those of you who watch the YouTube channel know that Frank and I do this differently.
Yeah.
And I think it's delightful because Frank's just surrounded by paper and he's looking on his phone and stuff. And
I only look on the phone if I have to do a last minute change in my stories. I come prepared, Dan.
You do come prepared.
But I had to do a last minute change on this. But McKenna Denson is her name.
Okay.
I hope she keeps it up. I hope she doesn't settle, at least for a while. I hope she
I mean, I'm sure it's better for her if she does. And I want her to do what's best for her. But it's better for us.
I want her to do what damages the church the most.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
I don't care about damaging the church. I care about holding the church accountable. And so
it's the two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I just look better than you do right now. That's all.
I can want the church damaged. I think it's a bad organization.
Yeah, it's not great. So I'm going to move along to. So we all know the name Stormy Daniels at this point, the most famous porn star in the world right now, not for her porn.
No.
Though I'm guessing she's probably her porn's probably super popular too. I'm guessing
there's probably been an uptick in her porn.
Yeah, her in viewing of her stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a very, very delightful thing happened. It's silly and stupid, but somebody named Angela Stalcup, whose handle on Twitter is @Angela_Stalcup, tweeted, Stormy Daniels is the member of the First Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. Now, I don't know what Angela Stalcup's motivation was in tweeting out where Stormy Daniels is apparently the member of, which church.
Okay.
But I just had to do this story because of Stormy's response, which was this. Quote, this is a tweet. Quote, this is the most offensive lie I've read about myself to date. Can we please go back to calling me a drug-addicted male prostitute from outer space? Thanks. Oh, she just,
I watched that interview with her.
Yeah.
That Anderson Cooper did. I like her.
She's a firecracker.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, hey, come to this church. A famous porn star comes to our church.
That's amazing.
She's like, no, thank you.
That will not be happening.
I mean, I had lost a lot of respect for her. Not for porn. That's great. I lost a lot of respect for her when I found out that she slept with that man.
Yeah.
Because gross.
Yeah. The grossest part still in my mind is the whitey tighties. Bend over.
No, don't.
Pull down your pants. I'm going to spank you. And he leaves his whitey tighties on.
God. It's so gross. It's so gross. But this tweet goes a long way toward me respecting her again. Oh, my God.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like her.
That particular church, by the way, is the home of Pastor Robert Jeffress, who we've talked about, and is a perpetual Trump supporter.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, speaking of church and supporting church,
yeah,
Church of England, the C of E.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. They're currently undergoing a change in how they collect the offerings from the congregants.
Sure.
Right. They're going cashless. They're getting a little debit card system.
Little card swipers,
chips
or whatever.
The contactless system.
Oh.
Apparently.
Apple Pay? Can I use Apple Pay?
Perhaps.
Just get out my phone and just boop. I'll just give them a little boop.
Yeah, they have decided that this is they need to make these financial transactions easier for their parishioners.
Get into the 21st century, baby.
And this is the reason millennials aren't coming.
What?
It's just
no. It's the reason they're not giving. Nobody has cash anymore.
Right. Yeah. So they.
Oh, it's smart. I think they're going to see an
introduce
uptick.
this system in 16,000 churches and cathedrals.
Holy shit!
They're going. They just want to go.
They're going
whole
big.
hog on this.
They're all
system. Initially, the payment machines will only be used for funeral fees, wedding notices, or maybe to buy a cup of coffee.
Oh,
right.
Sure.
After
They
the
charge for
services.
coffee.
Yeah, it seems strange. That's what this article suggests.
You're not Starbucks. You can't charge me for. You give me coffee for free. God damn it!
But then, as time goes on, the plan is to make it available for the weekly in-service offerings.
They can just have a station at every all along the pews. You just bloop.
Well, you could, instead of passing the plate, you just pass a card reader.
You don't have to pass anything. I just on the back of every pew.
Oh,
on the
right
back of the
there.
pew in front of you.
Yeah.
And then if you hear something you like, you just give another $1. Bloop. You just every time you feel something, you've got a vicar up there who's just like every time you hear something, just give it a little boop.
Yeah.
A little boop. Yeah. Have you booped today?
Yeah. The financial fees are really going to rack up, though.
I wonder if they're big enough. Could they be there? Could yeah? They can get a good deal on merchant services.
You think so?
I think they can.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah.
Talk them down a little bit.
Yeah. So tap and go is what this is also known as. We don't really use it here in the United States. I had to kind of. It does exist, but it's not. Apparently, it's just the way it works in the UK, and so people are looking forward to this.
It's nutty. Churches need to innovate.
They have to stay current.
People
aren't carrying cash.
Let's rewind a little bit. They have to stay 10 to 20 years behind current, constantly for all things.
And it's a struggle.
And it's rough.
Even then.
It's hard. Mormons are the worst at it.
Because I know. You still put your money in the envelope, right?
Like a check.
Yeah.
Go write a check.
Do they do that?
I don't know. Sure they do.
I don't know. The LDS Church, you would think they'd have like some kind of online portal that you could pay your tithing on.
Tithing.lds.org or something.
Some kind of EFT automatic deduction.
Login.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Set it up with your payroll.
Yeah.
Just comes directly out. Direct deposit.
Yeah.
Bloop. You can choose if it's 10% of your gross or your net, but they'll know.
They'll know. And do you really want gross or net blessings or gross blessings?
Right. I think it's all very gross.
Yeah. But that's the attitude.
It is.
The more you give, the more faithful you are.
Yeah. And the more God will bless you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take us to Germany. And when you think of Germany, what you think of is Hinduism.
That's not what I think of.
Oh.
I think of Wiener Schnitzel and strudel.
Wiener Schnitzel is Austrian, my friend.
Is it?
It's named after Vienna. Wien.
That's not.
That's 100% true. A Wiener is someone or something from Vienna.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, now that I've amply corrected you,
okay,
on your misnomers, so a group called Bhakti Marga is healing Nazi concentration camps by chanting Om there.
Oh.
No, Om. They're purifying the sites, according to themselves. Mm-hmm. It's not an entirely uncontroversial thing to be doing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of question as to whether they're just trying to sort of whitewash history or make it go away in some way. Oh. Because their claim is that they're going there and they're chanting Om for enough period of time. And then they're making all the bad juju gone. Isn't that nice? They had a chanting session this month at Buchenwald, which the administration of the camp supported, and they got the support of the local Jewish community.
Right.
But it's such a so there's Christian
a lot going
groups
on here.
Christian groups go and pray there, and Muslim groups go and pray there, and it's all. I honestly believe it's all good-hearted.
Right.
Like they're going and trying to sort of take negativity. Like these people are literally trying to take negative energy.
Right.
In the air quotes. Because what the fuck does that even mean? And turn it into positive energy. Also in air quotes. Because it doesn't mean anything.
Wow.
And apparently the way to do that is to say the word Om a whole bunch of times.
So here's the deal. Let's just say
that
this all worked.
Okay.
Right. Let's say there was...
Which I think we can definitely say.
Well, okay. First of all, there is some remnant nastiness, right? That's real, and it's tarnishing this it's negative energy.
I'll read you a quote from the Swami.
Okay.
Paramahamsa Vishwananda.
Very good.
Is the name of the guy who said, what happened in these places is still happening in the etheric and astral realms.
Okay.
Only Om has the power to heal these places.
So he believes that, right?
Yes.
But what we're exposing by this whole thing is that, like, that everybody else believes it too. That there's actually something negative about this because they're wanting to hold on to that, right? Why would you object to it being cleansed?
Well, here's the thing.
Right? Or whitewashing history. How is this whitewashing history?
Well, I think that the possible objection is that if they are claiming that now this place is positively energy charged,
right?
Does that diminish the what it stands for, which is a sort of a monument to never again?
Right.
You know what I mean? And
so you need the negative energy.
And the
for
power,
it to be a
the
monument
power
to that?
of it is that people go in and feel the potency of the horrific occurrences that happened there. I mean, when I went to Auschwitz,
right,
it's powerful because you have to look at the horrors,
right. But the only way to get rid of that is to get rid of is to tear it all down and build an apartment complex.
Right. I think what's ridiculous is the concept that you can cleanse the negative energy of such a place because it's not the place that has negative energy,
right.
It's the events that occurred there.
And
it's the history.
It's facing it.
Right. So I think the concept is absurd on its face. What are we going to do? I'm going to go to Buchenwald now and be like, oh, this place is really nice.
Yeah.
It feels great here now.
Right. Even when I
feel
think
how positive
about,
this is?
When I think about what happened.
Right.
the negative energy is just not here anymore.
The place is so upbeat now.
Did somebody come in and do some feng shui?
Who did something here? Because this place feels fabulous. I'm going to get a nice Riesling and I think I'm going to have a picnic.
Yeah. Right. At the cafe.
Sure.
Right.
This place is great.
Yeah, because really they just had the ovens facing the wrong direction.
Right.
Right. And now they've put a little water feature in.
It's got some flow.
And there's, some something reflective and something blue, something old, something new.
Oh, now it's a marriage venue. Lovely.
Yeah.
I think.
Why not?
Why not? Now that it's so positive.
What a beautiful sort of, industrial, Again,
I feel like these people have
just fucking terrible. Like, it's cuckoo land, Dan.
Yeah, it's masturbatory, and I shouldn't say that because I like masturbation, and but this is just, well, our religious tradition wants to honor yours by fixing something,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, how can we, as a religious tradition, make your tragedy about us?
Right.
I think it's bullshit. I'm mad. I actually wasn't going into this story anticipating being mad, but now I'm mad. Fuck them. Also, there's a picture of all these Hindus chanting, and what do you notice?
They all wearing. It looks cold.
What I noticed is they're all white.
Oh.
I don't see a single person of like Asian descent in there.
Ah.
Not a single Indian or Tibetan or whatever. I don't see a single person in there. It's all a bunch of white folk.
Well, yeah.
So
that makes perfect sense to me. I wasn't imagining.
Well, when I was you're not allowed to convert to Hinduism. When I was in India, the reason that like Hare Krishna was invented was because it was something that non-Indian folk who weren't born into it could convert to, because Hinduism, at least as it's practiced in parts of India,
right,
you don't get to convert to it. You're born into it.
Well, they clearly are doing some conversion somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
Swami, unpronounceable name, is definitely totally into it.
All right. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have something to say about the show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Hey, so if you'd like to say something about it, write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, we enjoy that. Hey, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click that like button.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join. It is a closed group, but we'll let you in.
Yes, indeed.
Dan.
Yeah.
It's time to do some listening.
Oh, no, I don't like it.
We got some...
I don't want to listen. I'm a talker.
Yeah.
That's why I got a podcast.
Indeed.
2 podcasts.
Indeed. All right. We got Dave Dobenmeyer.
Yeah.
That's
Coach Dave.
Yep. That's right. He is... he goes about his life finding things to be outraged by.
It's his job.
He's, an angry middle-aged white man who he's bringing up some issues and saying them in such a way, right?
This guy, you guys, this clip. Yeah, I'm telling you, if the 1950s, or rather, and you and I were talking about this before, if a white male memory of the 1950s became sentient and just started looking at current society,
yeah,
and only at like a very small segment of current society,
yeah,
and then just started yelling, that's what this clip is. It's insane.
Everywhere they go, they're being sissified. They're being sissified in school. They're being sissified in church. They're being sissified on the job. They're being sissified in the home. The daddies have become sissies. The daddies won't speak back to to their bossy wives because they want to get laid. And so mom runs the house. Mom runs everything. Dad goes out and earns all the money. The kids never see dad take a stand for anything except maybe the Buckeyes or the Bengals or the Browns. But they'll never see their dad ever take a stand for anything. And so the parents, if they do take the kids to church, which doesn't happen very much, they take their kids to church and the kids walk in there and they watch what goes on in church and they see the sissy man standing up in front and parents go home and they never talk about religion in their life. They never have family prayer in their life. They never have family devotionals in their life. They never have anything. And when the kids get 18 and they run off to college and they get introduced to Mr. Budweiser and Mr. Vagina, it's over. Religion out the door. And we don't teach our kids virtue. We don't teach our young men to honor a woman. We don't teach a young man that a real man of God does not take advantage sexually of a woman, that a real man of God is virtuous and stands up and defends, protects women, that a real man of God has a moral center and a moral compass that will not be changing with the whims of the day. We don't teach that. Why? Because there isn't any right or wrong. You can be a man and sleep with another man. You can be a woman and sleep with another woman. You can be a man who kills your baby. You can be a man that impregnates a lady and lets her kill her baby, but you're not allowed to have any opinion on it. You just got to sit there in the corner, shut up, and let the women do whatever they want to do. That, in a nutshell, is what's going on in American society. So I throw that one on the table. Somebody climb on in.
Well, Coach, so let me ask you, how should a man treat a teenage man treat those teenage women? Should he treat them like ladies? Do they act like ladies?
We got a problem, don't we, Jared? No, they don't act like ladies. They don't act like ladies. And why don't they act like ladies? Can I tell you why? I tell you why? Because they're fighting to get on top. The wives are fighting to get on top. The girlfriends are fighting to get on top. The girls are competing for college scholarships. The girls are competing for jobs. Not that girls shouldn't, but that's what has thrown our culture and society out of whack. Now, here's one I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Lord, I got you. Women pastors. Hang on a minute. Women pastors. Somebody just help me with this one, okay? You never hear me talk much about it. Women pastors, okay? Pastor, a woman who pastors a church, a married woman who pastors a church. I ask myself one simple question. If she's the pastor and the head of the church, is she also the head of the home? And if she's not the head of the home, what is she doing being the head of the church? And if she is the head of the home, what's wrong with her husband?
My God. This man,
wow,
is, he is saying what is going on in that middle-aged man's mind who is sitting in the corner and he's not saying anything. He's completely disengaged from his family, and every once in a while he speaks up, but it's like he would never dare say what's really on his mind. But he'll go into the voting booth and he will vote as an angry white man.
Well, and what's amazing is that when it actually comes out like this, when we actually get to hear it instead of the, in most of our lives, there's a man who believes this.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say it out loud. So he never actually gets a chance to hear the cognitive dissonance that's happening.
Yeah.
Like when Coach Dave is ranting and he says the women are fighting to get on top, and he's clearly outraged by this.
Right.
How dare they?
Right.
They have no right to fight to get on top. And then he says, not that they shouldn't.
Right.
Because he hasn't thought any of this through.
No. Except for the fact,
he has feelings
that
are competing with any kind of logic that he bothers to employ, which usually he doesn't.
Right.
That's a very sissified take on things. I get it. I'm totally a sissy.
What is alarming and concerning to me, though, is that these men who were being silent are now starting to actually speak up and talk to each other and validate each other. And a man who feels that way, right, and watches Coach Dave, feels like he just heard some truth.
Yeah.
He just heard
somebody said it out loud.
Yeah. What is wrong with this world? all these sissy boys
and these overpowering women who are getting jobs, competing for scholarships, not that they shouldn't.
Right.
But they shouldn't.
Right.
Not that they shouldn't, but they are, but they shouldn't, but I don't like it. Mr. Budweiser and Mr. Vagina walking around on those
Vagina
college campuses.
Mr. Vagina. Why not Ms. Vagina?
No, nothing that has that much power over him could be a woman. And the whole
so
women
bizarro.
pastor thing at the end. The whole
He is pissed.
who's going to be the head of the household? What if just throwing it out there was a household that didn't have a head? I get it. I'm sissy.
Right.
But what if there
What if they
wasn't
just work
someone
together?
in charge?
Yeah.
What if that happened?
Yeah.
What would happen then? The world would come to an end.
Yeah.
The entire world is coming to an end. A sissified, these unladylike end to the world.
I know. Oh,
It's
just the worst.
It's very frustrating. It's frightening. I believe we had a voicemail.
We did have a voicemail from someone who listens to the show.
People listen to this show?
Somebody.
Why would anyone listen to this show?
Actually, wrote down the telephone number. I'll remind people of it. 424-666-8442.
We say it
You can
every
write it down.
every show.
And then call us. And this is what he did. So he's responding to something that we said about millennials leaving religion.
Oh.
And I can't remember exactly what we said the reasons were.
Oh, I
but
don't listen to this
he's
show.
coming in and has his own experience to share.
Sure.
Hey guys, my name is Chance. I listened to a call in yesterday about why millennials are leaving religion. I thought I would weigh in as a millennial and just say that the reason I left is because after 12 years from K-5 to 12th grade, so I guess that's actually 13 years, of being in a Christian school and being taught the earth was 6,000 years old, I had a gay friend after high school, and I started to question that belief. And from that, I started to question, science and everything else and my whole worldview, and it just kind of fell apart until I realized that I was atheist. But I think that a big reason is that there's stuff like that about people having people in their lives that they care about that aren't as afraid as they used to be to say, I'm gay, I'm atheist, I'm, whatever, that kind of goes against the status quo of Christianity and many other religions, or Christianity in my case at least. And so that's really why I left. And so I thought I would just share that. So thanks, guys. Love the show. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in. Gay people are ruining religion.
Well, here's the deal. Religion, I'm not really, but church, going to church was always already ruined. It always sucked. Right?
Yes.
The only difference is, and goes to the root of his point, is that now people are speaking out and saying, I'm different, I'm this, I'm that, and church doesn't work for me, blah, blah, blah. And you're able to just be like, oh, yeah, me too.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
or not even like I'm all that different, but I just hated it too.
Right, because 40 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, and then for eternity before that, if you said, no, I reject these divinity claims, I reject these church claims, you would be burned. You know what I mean? Like you would be
or shunned,
a social outcast or worse.
Right. And so that was the control. And so nobody liked it, but nobody wanted to be the person who came forward.
Right.
And so
now
what a glorious time.
You got bozos on the internet just doing entire weekly shows about being atheist.
Yeah. And it's great.
Yeah.
Now we have atheist friends and gay friends.
Yeah. Gay folk and atheists, and
it's the best. The internet is, honestly, I mean, because I'm quick to judge the internet. Right.
Yes, of course.
But it is just fantastic. It's changed. It's dumb to say. It sounds dumb.
Well,
to
it
say,
has its
but
negative things.
It has changed everything.
It has changed everything.
And it's the ability to have access to people around the world and information that wasn't readily available before.
Right.
I love it because of what it's doing to churches and religion and in general.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this
I heart this.
Part of this is we can say started before the internet came around, because as gay people started to come out of the closet, as gay people started to be openly gay,
right, more visible
and defying social convention,
sure,
in that insanely brave way that they did.
But it was still just a small percentage, that could do it, that felt safe to do it.
But the more they did it, the more people started asking questions,
and it would have eventually. Okay, fair enough. It would have eventually gotten maybe to the point that we're at right now, but the internet accelerated it.
The internet exploded it.
It just.
I think it was Will and Grace that really did the trick.
Fuck Will and Grace.
Just kidding.
Fuck that show. Except for the fact that there was exposure and you had a straight actor.
Yeah, let's not forget. It was a big deal.
It was a big fucking deal.
It was
So was Billy Crystal on Soap.
Yeah.
Even though he was playing a clown.
Yeah.
Right.
It was it becomes more visible, and then your gay cousin comes out of the closet, and then you have to decide, do I reject my cousin that I loved,
right,
or my brother or my sister or whatever, or do I reject this church? And it puts you in a conundrum.
Right.
And then what happened is that people started saying out loud, I'm atheist.
Right.
And not being afraid.
Right.
Oh no, I don't believe in God.
Right.
And then everybody was like, wait, that's one of the options?
Right.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm literally surprised in my life when I encounter somebody who believes at this point.
Oh my God. Because it's a little bit of a
yeah.
When you're with a bunch of people and everybody's having a good time and then someone's like, "Oh no, I believe in God." It becomes this, "Oh.
How very strange. What a novel idea."
It's quaint. What an interesting thing.
I didn't know any of you still existed. Sadly, we live in little bubbles, Dan.
Yes. What delightful bubbles they are. Oh, I love it. Just bathe in bubbleness.
Now, the thing, though, that I do encounter all the time in this non-believing sphere is woo.
Oh, God,
it's woo. So weird.
The woo.
How, Dan? How is it that people who have otherwise gotten themselves out of a belief system, right, that is unsavory and whatnot, right?
People
and then
want
they
to
hurl themselves into weird restricted diets, and
people want magic, baby. They want magic. They don't want to deal with the reality that, like, we're stuck with, our medical science is great, but there's so much it can't help you with.
Right.
So yeah, you want the miracle cure. Right. You want the miracle fat burning,
but a diet that's based on your blood type, Dan.
Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. There's a guy in my play. I'm in a play right now. And there's a guy in my play. He's delightful. I love him to death. Has 2,000 rituals that he does. He's oil pulling.
Oh, yeah.
He's taking the probiotic. He's doing all the things. I asked him, what is that supposed to do? I'm talking right now about him swishing coconut oil in his mouth for 20 minutes and not being able to talk to us. talking like this while we're trying to have a conversation. And I'm like, what? So tell me what's supposed to be happening. He starts, the second someone says the word toxins, they don't know what they're talking about. That word is code for I don't know what I'm talking about. If you are using that word in your daily life, you don't know what you're talking about. Do some research. A toxin's a real thing.
Yeah.
And if you can't name the actual toxin that you're targeting, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The latest one that I heard is neurotoxins in dryer sheets.
Okay.
VX. Yeah. Okay. Sarin.
Sure.
What? Which one?
Yeah. Great.
And laundry detergent.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, there's not.
I actually challenged him I was actually apologetic because I challenged him on a lot of the stuff, but it's a friendly environment. You don't need to shit on somebody's thing.
Well, essentially, it's the workplace, Dan. Is what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so I backed off. I backed off, and then he was like, "No, it's okay." And then he pulled up a website and handed it to me. That was like a list of claims without a list of support for those claims. Yeah. A couple of them had some support. It seems some research may have been done on like maybe it's better. It's as good for halitosis as mouthwash.
Why not mouthwash? What's wrong with mouthwash? Was there something that was bad about mouthwash?
Yeah, they had something about how it's, and maybe there's actually like some research in Mexico was saying that it's linked to some sort of cancer or something. I don't know. Just brush your fucking teeth.
Yeah.
Just whatever. I don't know. Chew a gum. But anyway. But, of course, he was claiming that it pulls all the toxins out, just like, the pads that go on your feet, they pull toxins out.
That's like a given, Dan.
Obviously.
That is so widely accepted.
Obviously.
That those things work. It's unbelievable to me.
Oh, my God. Okay.
All right.
We have some people to thank, do we?
We do.
Okay.
Yes. Patrons.
Help us.
On Patreon.
We went down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah. Well, it's an easy one to go down, Dan.
Yeah.
These are folks, Dan.
Who are these people?
Who have gone to our website, thankgodimatheist.com.
Right.
And they clicked on the support tab. Now, if some of you tried to do this last week, the site was down for a second. It is supposed to be back up later today.
We've got our entire IT department working round the clock, which consists, unfortunately...
I trust that it will be up by the end of today.
Okay.
Which means by the time you're listening to this, folks, it's back up and running.
Right.
So you go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the support tab. It takes you to Patreon. Let's thank these folks. We have Dwayne, who is a new faithful listener. And we have Jamie, who's a new venerable listener.
And Dwayne and Jamie both get access to an ad-free version of the show.
Mm-hmm. And Jamie gets access to the Frank and Dan Diaries.
Okay. So that's and that is, and also they're just better people. So if you want to be a good person and not a freeloader,
that's Dan's perspective.
Then help us.
I wonder what Coach Dave's perspective.
It just helps us out. It's just we put this out into the world every week, and it helps us out, and you get access to the ad-free show.
Yeah. And Dan.
Yes.
As always.
Oh, there's somebody else.
We must thank.
Praise be unto
our
her.
Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
The Archangela herself.
Angela! Praise be upon her, and Allahu Angela Bar. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. Dan.
Yeah.
Dan.
What? Huh?
Dan.
Huh?
That's the show 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Her? What? Who did it? I still don't believe in God. Nobody does anymore, Grandpa. Hey, I was first.
Still doing the show.
Yeah.
4 people are listening.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
all our other listeners are dead.
How the nursing home keeps you and me sharp. We're fucking Statler and Waldorf sitting there in the nursing home.
12 hours a day, live stream, Frank and Dan.
Yelling into an internet that no longer exists.
Anyway, this week, Dan.
Yeah.
This past weekend, in fact, was General Conference. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, the LDS Church, whatever you want to call it. The downtown church, the corporate church.
Yeah. The Brighamites.
The Brighamites. They have their semi-annual general conference.
Yeah.
Twice a year.
Yep, we talk about it quite a bit. It's usually just the big meeting where a whole bunch of very boring old white men get up and blather.
Yeah, indeed.
It's interminable. It's slow. And Mormons hypnotize themselves into thinking that it's great.
Yeah.
They have this amazing trick where something that is objectively awful.
They get to go and listen to the prophet.
They get to
the Lord's prophet.
I mentioned earlier that I'm in this play, and we're many of our cast members are from out of town, New Yorkers, Los Angeles,
right?
And so they don't know anything about the Mormon Church. And one of them was like, "I learned something about the Mormons today that really freaks me out."
Mm-hmm.
They think they have a living prophet. And I was like, "Oh yeah." And he was like, "But that means that you can't talk about anything having been incorrect about being incorrect about the church or whatever, because there's this living guy who talks to God." And I was like, "Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there."
It's one of their biggest problems.
They call it their biggest selling point.
Right. It's like the greatest feature of the church.
Right.
Is also its biggest problem.
Right.
Right. Because it doesn't age well.
No.
Right. In fact, it is aging.
Especially not when you're, it ages when you go from, when your 90-something-year-old prophet dies and he's replaced by a 90-something-year-old prophet.
Yeah.
It's aging.
It's aging. Yeah. So this was Russell M. Nelson's first general conference.
First big outing as the big cheese.
The big prophet.
The
prophet, seer, and revelator. President of the church.
Yeah.
And it was almost as if he had been sitting on a bunch of reforms.
This dude was ready to go.
Yeah.
He launched some stuff.
Because Tommy Monson wasn't doing anything. He was just sitting there.
He was delirious through the last 3 years of his, or more.
So, some of the things that happened, and some of this will mean more or less to you, depending on your really inside experience of Mormonism.
We'll try not to make this a deep dive, you guys, because a lot of it is...
We'll explain as we go. One of the big changes is the Mormon Church had one of the burdens that it placed on its membership, one of the many burdens,
was of the myriad burdens that became yours with entry into this church.
Was this idea that every active adult member of the church was sort of paired up with somebody else from their congregation, and they would go and they would visit other members of the congregation.
Yeah.
Both people the kinds of folk who show up every single week to church, and also the less active members of the church. This was kind of a continuing sort of outreach program to kind of try to bring people back in. It was a fellowshipping type tool. It was work very well.
It was
usually
keeping tabs and preaching at each other.
Yeah, you're supposed to deliver a message from...
It's like mutual re-indoctrination.
Right. So you're one of those people who has to go out as a home teacher, right? Or a visiting teacher if you're one of the sisters.
Yeah,
right?
these are two different programs.
Right.
One's for men because they're important, and one's for women. And the women only really talk to the other women.
Right. But the men go out and talk to the families.
The whole family.
Right. And you would share a message in the church monthly periodical called The Ensign. Right. Or at least in English, that's what it's called. And this is the same message that somebody would come to your house and share it to you.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that you would have just read because it's in
your magazine. And stuff.
It was just awful. It was an awful thing. So anyway,
it's just
boom, done, gone. This is now gone.
Ish.
They have replaced it with a program called Ministering, which sounds strangely Protestant.
It doesn't sound Mormon at all.
It's really a weird word to come in.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, it's really going to be about it's more the reaching out to the less active and going to visiting the elderly or the sick. It's not this bugging each other every single week thing.
And these other programs, the visiting teaching and the home teaching, you had to keep like a log of everybody and you had to report back like everybody that you did, like they were keeping track of if you're doing it.
Right.
And apparently that's largely
so the stats,
toned it down.
The stats aspect has been stripped out of it.
Yeah.
So now it's just, hey, old sister so-and-so, she could use a good visit.
Yeah.
From time to time.
Now it's your job to sort of vaguely keep tabs and check in.
And it sounds like it's a little bit more volunteer.
Yeah.
Oriented as well. It's if it's just going to be a burden for you, don't do it. It shouldn't be a burden for you, and they'll guilt trip you about that.
Oh, they will.
But
they will. But I'm sorry.
But every member a missionary, every member a minister. I don't think it's going to work like they hope it will. I think there'll be those in the ward who step up, and there will be those who don't.
That's not the Mormon church I know.
Yeah.
That's not the Mormon church I know.
Another big change.
# not my Mormons.
Was they did away with the high priest group.
Yeah, so
nutty cuckoo. What these old men? Where did their nap time go?
Right,
at church.
The Mormons, as you may recall from previous episodes, but you may not, of our show, all Mormon men have priesthood. Mm-hmm. If you're worthy, and worthiness is determined by your bishop, at the age of 12, fucking 12 years of age,
they start you off with training wheel.
Boys in the church are granted lower priesthood, and then you just sort of rise up through the ranks. It starts with a white belt, and then you go to the purple belt.
Not true. Not true.
But it is weird to explain to people, like when I say that I was, by 12 I was a deacon, by 14 I was a teacher. Not allowed to teach anybody.
No, just what the group is
just
called.
The name.
Yep.
16, I'm ordained a priest.
Yeah.
That's meaningless.
At 18, I was an elder.
Right?
Elder in the church.
I mean, the immortal words of Inigo Montoya echo through the halls of... I don't think that word means what you think it means. Because they don't know how to use the words.
Yeah.
So anyway, then you get into elder. Then you get... If you're extra good... you become a high priest.
So the deal is that certain callings for men required sort of this higher level of priesthood. So they would be called to be a high priest. Well, they've done away with that group.
I think they need to have like robes and a cane and like a staff if you're a high priest.
Yeah. Well, do you remember? You may or may not remember this, but when we were wee tykes, the ward still had 70. Right?
Really?
Yeah. And they did away with that. Probably.
What does that even mean?
It was just another group of men in the priesthood.
Not 70 of them.
No.
Maybe they were in their 70s.
But there were local 70s groups.
Like they were meant to be the general authorities of that ward.
I don't know. I don't remember how it worked. I just remember that it existed.
You guys, it's all so dumb. You guys, I'm sorry.
So the point of this is, so we've given these are the two big examples. There were other sort of administrative changes that happened as well.
Right.
But what this led me to was this realization of how really just dumb this whole thing is, right? Yeah. Because Mormons are sitting there in General Conference and they're listening to this and they're having what they would call faith promoting experiences. They are feeling the Spirit. Jesus is bearing testimony to them that this is good, that this is right, that this is true. And all it is an administrative change. There's nothing doctrinal. There's nothing new. There's no new knowledge. There's no new revelation about the world or the universe or anything.
No.
This is simply a structural change in the church, and Mormons sit there and feel the Spirit while this is happening.
Yeah.
That this is right. And that the prophet is inspired to do this. And it really like led me down this like rabbit hole of just thoughts about how, you know, like how fucking nutto the Mormons are compared to mainline Christianity. Now, Mormons claim to be Christians, but there are so many ways to make the argument that they're not. And I think this is another one, which is Christians have their relationship, their special relationship is with Christ, right? And Mormons, their special relationship is with the church.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The first thing out of their mouth when they get up to bear their testimony is, I believe the church is true.
Yeah.
And then they go to the prophet Joseph Smith, and then somewhere down the line, at some point, they might actually say, I believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, or my Redeemer, or my... They might struggle with the language about Jesus.
They might even skip that part because...
They might.
Because, and this is a thing that they do, like there's a monthly meeting devoted to everybody. It's open mic night, and everybody gets to go up and just bear their testimony. This is what
in lieu of normal Sunday services,
right?
Yeah.
This is what it's for, and so you know, not everybody does it. Mm-hmm. You're not required to do it, but people get up in front of their parish, their ward, is what they call it, and they say. And it becomes very rote sometimes. They start by, almost everybody starts the same way. I'd like to bear my testimony that I know this church is true, that I know that Joseph Smith was a true prophet, that I know that Russell M. Nelson or whoever the dude is for right now is a true prophet of God, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe they relay some personal anecdote that happened to them. And then they say, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Yeah.
But they may throw in and I am grateful for the redemption of the Lord, or I'm so grateful, but it's usually about the gospel, or it's about the church,
right?
And Jesus is not. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. He doesn't always make the cut.
No,
their relation, and frankly, if there's one thing that we've learned from this particular General Conference, their relationship is to a bureaucracy.
Yeah. It is.
They care so much about the bureaucracy and the administration of the things and the rules. They need their rules. They're in it for the rules.
Absolutely they are. Because, I mean, I can hear... I have not and I will not speak about any of these changes with my parents, right? No. But I can hear my dad talking about, you know, and speculating at this change and that change and what it really all means. And like... He loved that shit. Loves that shit. He's still alive.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, it was this really eye-opening moment for me when I kind of had that realization this week that it is a cult. I like your use of the word bureaucracy.
Yeah.
It's a cult of bureaucracy. It's a cult of...
It's amazing.
Of officiousness.
Only the Mormons. Only the Mormons could be that into fucking bureaucracy like that. It's never occurred to me before this moment, but what sets them apart as a religion, and it explains a whole fucking lot, is that they worship fucking bureaucracy. Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm literally in shock right now because that's the truth. I will say this. If you want to see how into sort of just the propriety of the rules they are, go online. You can find it. It's out there. This particular General Conference, Dallin Oaks got up and was like welcoming new important people to the dais, to the what do they call it? He uses a different word. To their seats behind the speakers.
Right.
They had some new because of the whole reshuffle of everything, and because people had died. They needed to get some new general authorities in there. 2 new members of the Quorum of the 12 who are people of color. What? It's amazing. Well, And then a bunch of like,
I don't want to quibble about persons of color, but we won't go there.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. One person from Brazil and then one person who is of Asian descent. Anyway.
An Asian American. Yeah.
And then, but
they qualify. They qualify, but they did find the whitest Brazilian they could find.
That's true. It's very true. Anywho, and then a whole bunch of women who are doing, in administrative girl things.
Uh-huh.
And as these people are sort of marching, trotting in silence up to their place on the podium, a woman starts yelling, "Stop protecting sexual predators!"
Right.
Stop protecting sexual predators. And you can hear it over the broadcast.
Yes.
And no one knows what to do except keep walking to their seats.
They don't even respond.
They don't look. They don't turn.
Yeah.
They are like a little Maltese dog who's afraid of a mouse.
Uh-huh.
They just keep doing what they're doing and pretend it's not happening until the security guys can get there and shut her up or whatever.
Yeah. Well, she had sat back down. She shut herself up. She said it 3 or 4 times that she said it.
Yeah.
And then they came and they asked her to leave.
Of course they did.
But my question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
Are Maltese dogs really known for being afraid of mice? I've never...
I literally... My mother-in-law my former mother-in-law from my first marriage had a Maltese that was so funny. And we had one of those little weasel balls.
Okay.
It was a ball that would roll around of its own volition with a little tail that would flip around.
Right.
And we thought she'd think it was fun. So we'd put it in front of her. And rather than... She didn't bark at it. She didn't run away from it. She just looked left. She didn't look terrified. Just
would not look at it.
With all the dignity she could muster, she just looked left and up. It's gone. Don't worry, there's no thing on the floor doing something against God and nature. I'm just looking over here now.
Oh my God.
It was the perfect Mormon response. For the rest of my life,
Now I understand this better.
That is how I think of Mormons. Is just that little old Maltese dog looking up and left until the thing is gone. Is it
Now
gone? Nope, it's not gone. I'm looking up.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's nothing.
I was just confused. I had never heard that expression before.
Yeah, I knew I kind of needed to tell the story. I'm glad you brought it up. It's Mormons, people.
Yeah.
They are a Maltese looking up and left until whatever it is that's bumping up against the bureaucracy goes away.
I need this T-shirt. Just a picture of a little Maltese. Just
looking up and left.
I refuse to acknowledge.
That is not there. Whatever you're pretending is there, it's not there. Stop trying to make me look at it.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
The Maltese.
The other thing
maybe that's the new mascot of our podcast. It's just that is religious belief in a nutshell. Anything that goes against my dogma, up and left.
All right. The other big thing that I feel like we cannot ignore, Dan, that happened was one Elder Quentin L. Cook.
Okay.
He's not one that I'm terribly familiar with because he's one of the ones who've come into power since I've left the church. As far as I know, I don't remember the dude. He used a phrase when sort of talking about, he was trying to acknowledge the Me Too movement.
Oh, God.
Right?
This was, and brace yourself, everybody. This is bad.
Maybe I should just go to what he said.
Yeah.
This is the quote. And, all right. It is commendable that non-consensual immorality has been exposed and denounced. Such non-consensual immorality is against the laws of God and of society. He continues, there is no break here, okay? He's going to continue on to this next line, which I actually find almost more outrageous. Those who understand God's plan should also oppose consensual immorality, which is also a sin. That right there just summed up and undid any effort that they have tried to back off of like the chewed gum analogy that they used to run about like, you know, it's more like, which we'll get into that in a second.
I have to stop you
respond
because I have to tell our listeners that the word immorality here means literally nothing other than sexual contact.
Because that's how Mormons use the word.
Yeah.
They don't, something's not immoral or moral based on its general goodness, rightness, or whatnot.
Immorality, I mean, they can use the word morality that way. But frankly, when they say that someone is being morally impure or morally pure, it's only sexuality that they're talking about.
Absolutely.
That's code for sex. Now, the concept that they would use the phrase, what is it?
Non-consensual immorality. That's what they're using to fill in for rape.
I'm so livid about this.
Yeah.
You can't be immoral against your will.
Right.
You're not, literally what he is saying is that the victim of rape is committing something immoral, is doing something immoral.
Yep.
That is literally what he is saying.
Yeah.
He used the phrase multiple times.
Yep.
And he said it basically, he couldn't say rape. He couldn't say molestation.
Yeah.
He couldn't say any of these. He didn't even use the word victim.
Right. Do you think the lawyers vetted his speech?
Yeah.
And said, no, you can't say rape here.
Yeah.
Like, and came up with
100%.
some little word, and nobody thought it through.
No.
Because I don't think what he was trying to say is what he did say.
No.
And that's a problem as well.
We can give him credit for, like, he's probably not trying to say that the victim of rape was committing an act of immorality.
No, but what it did do is it brought up for a lot of women some analogies and some stuff that used to be taught in like the Young Women's Handbook. For example, Moroni 9:9 used to be a big part of the lessons on this concept of morality and immorality, their sexual purity. It's telling the story of and Moroni 9:9, just for you guys, it's in the Book of Mormon.
It's a scripture.
Stated that the daughters of the Lamanites, who were the bad guys, had been taken prisoner and raped, and that they were deprived of, quote, that which was most dear and precious above all things, which is chastity and virtue, i.e., so end quote, i.e., virginity.
Right. Which is only important really for girls.
Right.
Oh my God. I'm so furious about this thing.
That has actually been taken out of the lessons that they have on this topic. Not very long ago this happened, by the way. This was there until just like a few years ago. And then the another part of the lesson was always this idea of chewed gum, right? And Elizabeth Smart recently, the young woman who was abducted here in Salt Lake,
kidnap victim, rape victim.
Yeah.
She was held for months and months and months, years.
I don't know if it was years. It might have been over a year.
I think it was over a year.
I don't really remember all the particulars of the incident, but she's a very vocal victims advocate. She speaks out on this topic a lot. And one thing that she brought up, because apparently during her captivity, she was remembering the lessons that she'd been taught. And the metaphor that was
no good husband's
used,
going to want a piece of chewed gum.
Right. She says, I thought, quote, that I'm chewed up gum. I'm a chewed up piece of gum. Nobody re-chews a piece of gum. You throw it away.
Yeah.
But that was an analogy that was taught. So he is undoing all of this. Yeah. Like they were actually making a couple good steps in the right direction. And he comes along and compares rape to sin, conflates it all into one big, messy, jumbled thing, and walks away, and it is just absolutely horrifying.
To be clear, rape is sin. It's just not sin on the part of the victim.
Exactly.
But he's not making that clear at all. Rape,
no,
if a penis goes in your vagina, And that's what we're talking about.
You are no longer pure.
You've lost some purity.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Absolutely fucked.
You want to know something that's really fucked up? So I was looking on, I have many Mormon friends, and my Facebook becomes very interesting around conference time.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them are more liberal, some of them are more conservative, most of them are just like, everything that happens during conference is a miracle, and it's amazing, and it's the best thing that could have happened. Sometimes some of my Mormon friends are liberal enough that they're actually willing to question the church on certain things. But I had one person who had a thread about the whole visiting, teaching, home teaching thing. And then somebody else was like, I don't watch General Conference generally. Anything else that I should know about? And one of my friend's friends does a rundown of some things. New temples built in. There's going to have one in Russia.
I know, in India too.
Blah, blah, blah.
Fat chance.
And then the last thing she says is, actually, one more thing. A nod to the Me Too campaign from Quentin Cook. That is her idea of a nod to the Me Too campaign.
It's unreal.
You guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want to have him engage in a non-consensual fight with my fist. I'm so mad. So mad. All right.
It's pretty fucking outrageous. They have a tradition of this, of having to make up their own words for shit because they don't want to acknowledge what's really going on. And there's something really insidious about it. This time, clearly, some lawyers vetted the thing and wanted different words in there. Because
bunch of
everything
white
that's going
men
on with the church. We don't want to acknowledge rape.
A bunch of literally, like the definition of patriarchy.
Yeah.
Looked at this thing, asked no questions of any woman, of any victim of anything.
Right.
And they all looked at it and went, oh yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah. That's a good new word.
I don't want to say rape over the pulpit. I don't want to say sexual
kind of
molestation.
A downer of a word. And there's going to be children there. What about the children?
What do we say then?
It's not an edifying word.
What do we say?
What?
Non-consensual.
Well, it's sex.
So that's immorality.
Right.
So it's immorality. And it's not, they don't consent to it. Oh, guys, brethren, I think I got it. I think I got it.
Yeah, that brainstorming meeting would have been amazing.
Yuck.
Get on that one, Mormon Lakes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, if you want to chime in on any of the things that we've spoken about today, please do. Just go to, write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click that like button.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group.
Yeah.
That's what makes it great. We'll let you in.
Yeah. Speaking of Facebook, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page. She really does.
It's amazing.
She does so much work. It's
amazing.
Yep. And thanks also to Sarah, Danny, and Amy for their work as moderators in the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club and also Gordon Johnston for the continued use of their music.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. We sure do appreciate it.
Bye-bye.